There is a rule I learned late, and it cost me years. In the world of money, the most dangerous moment is not when you lose. It is when you speak too early. Most people think failure comes from bad decisions, bad luck, or bad timing. I don't. I have seen good plans collapse, strong careers stall, and profitable investments disappear for one simple reason. They were announced before they were built. In finance, silence is not personality. Silence is protection. Let me show you the environment you are really living in. I call it the pressure chamber. Imagine you are inside a sealed chamber slowly filling with air. As long as the pressure stays stable, you can move freely. You can work. You can think. You can build. But the moment you open the valve too early, the pressure changes. Everything inside reacts. Nothing behaves the same. Your life works the same way. The moment you tell people your next move, you change the pressure around you. You invite opinions. You invite expectations. You invite resistance. And resistance is the invisible tax on success. Here is the brutal truth most people never realize. Your biggest financial mistakes don't come from the market. They come from exposure. Exposure to noise. Exposure to ego. Exposure to other people's psychology. Over the years, I started noticing a pattern. Every time someone was about to make a real leap, new job, new business, new investment, new strategy, they talked about it. And the moment they talked, the probability of success dropped. Not a little, exponentially. Think about compounding. If your plan has a 70% chance of working in silence, and every outside opinion reduces confidence by just 5%, after 10 conversations you are no longer at 70%, you are at 40, then 30, then hesitation. And hesitation destroys compounding faster than any market crash. This is the first law of the pressure chamber. Information changes behavior, not just theirs, yours. When people know what you are about to do, you stop acting freely. You start acting observed. And the observed mind makes weaker decisions. This is why the strongest operators I have ever seen all follow the same rule. Move first, speak later. Short rule, hard discipline. Most people do the opposite. They speak first, then try to move under pressure. And pressure exposes weakness. Today I want to walk you through what I call the 5 early exposure traps. These are the 5 financial moves you must never share too early. Not because people are evil, because human psychology follows physics. Envy is gravity. Ego is friction. Expectation is weight. If you reveal your move too soon, you increase the mass you have to lift. And most people don't have enough force to lift it. We start with the first move. This one looks harmless, almost innocent, but I have seen it destroy more financial progress than bad investments. You must never share your income jump too early. I call this the ceiling trap. Here is how it works. Let's say you finally break through. New job, big raise, bonus, side income starts working. You feel proud. You want to tell someone. So you do what almost everyone does. You tell your friends. You tell your family. You tell your coworkers. You tell the people who watched you struggle. You think you are sharing happiness. What you are actually doing is resetting your ceiling. Human relationships run on invisible contracts. As long as everyone believes you are on the same level, the pressure stays equal. But the moment people know you moved up, the pressure changes. Now expectations change. Now comparisons start. Now every decision you make gets judged through a different lens. If you say you cannot afford something, they don't hear discipline. They hear arrogance. If you say you don't want to lend money, they don't hear caution. They hear selfishness. If you say you are busy working, they don't hear focus. They hear distance. Your income went up, but your freedom went down. This is the ceiling trap. The higher people think you are, the more they pull you back to where they are comfortable. Not because they hate you, because equality feels safe. I learned this the hard way. Years ago, I had my first real jump in income. Nothing dramatic, just enough to change my trajectory. And I made the mistake most people make. I talked about it. Not to brag, just to celebrate. Within months, everything around me changed. People started asking for help. Small favors, small loans, small expectations, nothing big, but constant. And constant pressure kills momentum. It is like trying to build speed while someone keeps tapping the brakes. You don't crash. You just never accelerate. This is where the math becomes brutal. Wealth does not grow linearly. It grows exponentially. If you can reinvest a $10,000 at 10% for 20 years, you don't get $20,000. You get over $67,000. But that only works if the capital stays untouched. Every early withdrawal, every social obligation, every emotional expense breaks the curve, and the curve never forgives. That is why the first discipline of serious builders is simple. Understate your progress, not lying, just reducing signal. Let people think you are doing fine, but not ahead. Let them think you are stable, but not free. Because the moment the world believes you have extra, the world will try to use it. This is not advice, this is pressure physics, and we have only opened the first valve. The second trap is even worse. Because this one doesn't just slow you down, it can stop the move before it even begins. And almost everyone falls into it the moment they get excited. The second move you must never share too early is your next plan. Not your current job, not your current income, your next move. This is where most people lose the future before the future even starts. I call this the dopamine leak. Here is the pattern. You decide you are going to change something. Maybe you are starting a business. Maybe you are switching careers. Maybe you are investing differently. Maybe you are finally getting serious about money. For the first time in a long time, you feel energy, clear direction, clear intention, clear hunger. And the moment you feel that energy, you want to talk about it. You tell a friend, you tell your family, you tell your coworkers, you explain the whole plan, and they react. Some are impressed, some are surprised, some are skeptical, some are excited for you. Your brain feels rewarded, and that reward is the problem. The human brain does not separate talking from doing. When you describe a goal in detail, and people respond positively, your brain releases dopamine, as if the goal is already achieved. You feel progress without making progress. This is the dopamine leak. Energy leaves before execution begins. And once the leak starts, discipline gets weaker. You wake up the next day with less urgency. You tell yourself you will start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes never. Not because the plan was wrong, because the pressure escaped. This is the second law of the pressure chamber. Excitement shared too early reduces execution force. I learned this watching people who were smarter than me. One friend had a perfect business idea. Low cost, high demand, clear advantage. For weeks he talked about it. Every dinner, every meeting, every conversation. He explained the model. He explained the numbers. He explained the strategy. Everyone told him it was brilliant. He never started, not because he couldn't, because his brain already felt successful. Talking replaced building, and this is where the math becomes dangerous. Execution requires sustained energy. Let's say a project needs 100 units of effort. If you keep the plan silent, all 100 units go into action. But every time you explain the plan, you spend energy. 5 units here, 10 units there, another 10 answering questions, another 5 defending the idea. By the time you start, you only have 40 left. Not enough to break through. This is why serious operators follow a rule most people find uncomfortable. Announce results, not intentions. When you look at people who compound for decades, they rarely talk about what they will do. They show what they did. Quietly. Then they move again. Silence keeps the pressure inside, and pressure creates force. But there is a darker side to sharing plans. It is not just dopamine. It is competition. The moment you say what you are going to do, you reveal your direction. And direction is valuable information. In markets, information changes price. In life, information changes behavior. If a coworker knows you want a promotion, they move differently. If a friend knows you are building something, they compare differently. If people know you are improving, they react differently. Not always consciously, but always predictably. Humans compete for position. Always have, always will. You may think you are just talking. They hear movement, and movement triggers response, sometimes support, sometimes resistance, sometimes sabotage. Not because people are evil, because status is limited. This is why the strongest builders protect the early phase. A new plan is fragile, like a seed under the soil. If you dig it up every day to show people, it never grows. It needs darkness first, silence first, time first. Only when roots are deep can the tree survive the wind. And most people expose the seed before it even breaks the surface. There is another force here most people never see. Expectation weight. The moment you tell people your plan, they start watching. They ask questions. How is it going? Did it work? When will it happen? Are you still doing it? Each question adds pressure. Pressure sounds motivating. It is not. Pressure too early creates hesitation. Now every step feels like a performance. Every delay feels like failure. Every obstacle feels public. And the brain hates public failure, so it chooses safety. This is why so many people stay in the same job, same income, same routine. Not because they lack opportunity, because they talk too soon. And once the world knows your move, going back feels embarrassing. So you freeze. The pressure chamber closes. No movement, no escape velocity. And this leads to the third trap. This one separates amateurs from operators. Because this is not about income and not about plans. This is about advantage, your edge. And the moment you show your edge too early, the market removes it. The third move you must never share too early is your edge. Not your job, not your plan, your advantage. The method that works. The system you discovered. The opportunity you see before others see it. I call this the alpha leak. And this is where most people destroy their own compounding without realizing it. In finance, there is a simple law. The moment an advantage becomes public, it stops being an advantage. Markets adjust, people copy, prices move, opportunities close. This is not opinion. This is math. If only one person sees a $1 opportunity selling for 50 cents, he can buy it. If 100 people see it, the price becomes 80 cents. If 10,000 people see it, the price becomes 1. The edge disappears. And the same thing happens in your life. The moment you explain exactly how you make money, exactly what you are doing, exactly where you are going, you create competition. Sometimes from strangers, sometimes from friends, sometimes from people who never cared before. Because success attracts attention, and attention attracts replication. I learned this watching small business owners. One man finds a niche, simple service, good margins, low competition. For a while, he makes great money. Then he starts talking. He explains the model. He explains the numbers. He explains how easy it is. Within a year, 3 new competitors open. Within 2 years, margins drop. Within 3 years, he says the market is bad. The market did not change. Exposure changed it. This is the alpha leak. Your advantage survives in silence. It dies in conversation. And the dangerous part is your ego wants to talk. Your ego wants credit. Your ego wants people to know you are smart. But the moment you prove you are smart, people start studying you. And once people study you, they copy you. This is why the strongest operators often look ordinary. Not because they are ordinary, because visibility reduces advantage. Think about compounding again. If you have a strategy that gives you 12% per year instead of 8%, that small difference over 25 years does not give you 50% more. It gives you more than double. That is the power of edge. But only if the edge survives. If exposure cuts your return from 12 to 9, you don't notice immediately. But over decades, you lose half your future. Not from one mistake, from one conversation. This is the third law of the pressure chamber. Protect the method, or the method stops working. I have seen traders do this. I have seen investors do this. I have seen entrepreneurs do this. They find something that works. Then they start teaching it. Before they finish using it, they trade advantage for attention. Short-term validation for long-term compounding. And the math never forgives that trade. There is another layer here most people never understand. Information creates expectation. The moment people know how you win, they expect you to keep winning. And expectation is weight. Now every result feels judged. Every mistake feels exposed. Every loss feels bigger. And when the brain feels watched, it becomes conservative. Conservative decisions kill asymmetric returns. And without asymmetry, you cannot build serious wealth. Serious wealth always comes from uneven outcomes. One big move, one strong edge, one long hold, one advantage held longer than others. But you can only hold longer if no one is pulling at you. Silence removes friction. Friction destroys curves. This is why I follow a simple rule. If something is working, fewer people should know about it next year than this year. Not more, because growth needs space, and space disappears when everyone is looking at you. There is also a psychological trap here, the teaching illusion. When you explain your strategy to others, you feel in control, you feel intelligent, you feel ahead. But feeling ahead is not the same as staying ahead. Many people start talking about money right when they start making money. That is the most dangerous moment, because early success is fragile. It looks strong, but it is still forming. And the moment you expose it, pressure increases. Pressure increases mistakes. Mistakes break confidence. Confidence breaks discipline. And discipline is the only thing that keeps the curve rising. This is why real operators often say very little. Not because they have nothing to say, because talking reduces leverage. And leverage is everything. But the fourth trap goes deeper than advantage. This one enters the family. And when money enters the family too early, it changes behavior in ways you cannot reverse. This is where many strong people lose control of everything they built. The fourth move you must never share too early is your future money. not the money you have now, the money people think you will have later. I call this the inheritance illusion. And this one is more dangerous than the others because it doesn't just affect your decisions. It affects the decisions of everyone around you. Most people believe security motivates people. It doesn't. Pressure motivates people. Uncertainty motivates people. Necessity motivates people. Remove necessity too early, and effort collapses. I have seen this happen inside families, inside businesses, inside partnerships. The moment people believe future money is guaranteed, their behavior changes today. Not consciously, automatically. Imagine two young men starting their careers. Both have talent. Both have opportunity. Both have the same intelligence. But one believes he must build everything himself. The other believes one day he will inherit enough to be fine. Who works harder? Who takes risk? Who tolerates discomfort? Who stays hungry? This is not about morality. It is about physics. Hunger creates force. Comfort removes force. And without force, there is no escape velocity. This is the fourth law of the pressure chamber. Future certainty reduces present effort. Parents make this mistake all the time. They think they are giving confidence when they reveal how much they have saved. They think they are giving love when they explain the inheritance plan. They think they are giving stability when they say, "Don't worry, you'll be taken care of." But what they are really giving is a mental safety net. And safety nets change behavior. When the brain knows the fall won't hurt, it stops learning how to climb. I learned this watching wealthy families. Not the loud ones, the quiet ones. Families where the first generation built everything. Discipline, risk, sacrifice, long hours, no guarantees. Then the second generation grows up, knowing the money exists, not even using it, just knowing. And slowly something changes. Urgency disappears. Decisions become softer. Standards become lower. Not because they are weak, because the environment changed. And environment always wins. This is why many fortunes disappear by the third generation. Not because of bad luck, because of early certainty. If you want strength, people must feel reality. Reality creates sharp decisions. Sharp decisions create asymmetric results. Asymmetric results create wealth. Remove reality too early, and the chain breaks. There is another side to this trap. Expectation politics. The moment family members know there is money coming later, they start calculating now. Not always openly. Quietly. Who gets more? Who gets less? Who deserves what? Who sacrificed more? Who helped more? And once calculation starts, relationships change. Conversations change. Motives change. You think you are sharing information. You are creating tension. Money turns love into math faster than anything else I have seen. And the worst part is, you cannot reverse it. Once people see the number, they cannot unsee it. Once people imagine the future, they start living inside it. And when they start living inside the future, they stop building the present. This is why disciplined builders follow a rule. That sounds cold but protects everything. Never let future money remove present effort. That does not mean hiding forever. It means timing. Timing is everything in compounding. Tell too late, you create confusion. Tell too early, you create weakness. You must reveal stability only after strength exists, not before. There is also a negotiation law here. The less people know about your resources, the more honest their behavior stays. The more they know, the more their behavior adjusts. Not always to hurt you. Sometimes just to benefit themselves. But the result is the same. Pressure increases, and pressure changes decisions. If people think you have unlimited backup, they expect unlimited flexibility. If people think you are secure, they expect you to carry more weight. If people think you are protected, they stop protecting you. This is why serious operators keep the future quiet. Not because they don't trust people. Because they understand incentives. Incentives shape behavior more than intentions. Always. And this leads to the fifth trap, the last one, the most subtle one. Because this one does not come from money. It comes from ego. And ego is the only force strong enough to destroy success after you already built it. The fifth move you must never share too early is your good moves, your wins, your generosity, your discipline, your sacrifices, your progress. I call this the ego signal. And this is the most dangerous trap of all because it feels like strength while it quietly removes it. Most people think success becomes easier after you start winning. It doesn't. It becomes more fragile because the more you achieve, the stronger the temptation to show it. You want people to see the change. You want people to respect the work. You want proof that the sacrifice meant something. So you talk. You mention the investment that worked. You mention the deal you closed. You mention how much you saved. You mention how much you gave. You mention how disciplined you are now. And every time you do that, you release pressure. The pressure chamber opens again. And once the pressure drops, focus drops with it. This is the fifth law of the pressure chamber. Recognition reduces intensity. The human brain is wired for reward. When the reward comes too early, effort slows down. When nobody knows, you keep pushing. When everybody knows, you start protecting the image. And protecting the image is the enemy of growth. I learned this watching people right after their first real success. They get a promotion. They make their first big profit. They pay off debt. They hit their first 6 figures. For a while, they are unstoppable. Then they start talking about it, not bragging, just sharing, just explaining, just celebrating. Slowly, something changes. They become careful. They become comfortable. They become satisfied. And satisfaction is the moment compounding starts to slow, because compounding needs repetition. Boring repetition. Invisible repetition. The moment you need applause, you stop doing boring things. And the boring things are the things that build wealth. There is another danger here. The scorecard shift. There are 2 scorecards in life. The outer scorecard and the inner scorecard. The outer scorecard is what people think. The inner scorecard is what you know. When you start sharing every win, every move, every good decision, you slowly switch scorecards. You stop asking, is this the right move? You start asking, how does this look? And the moment appearance matters more than math, the curve breaks. People upgrade too early because it looks successful. People invest in trends because it sounds smart. People spend to maintain image because silence feels uncomfortable. Image has weight. Weight reduces speed. Reduced speed kills escape velocity. And once escape velocity is gone, gravity wins again. This is why the strongest builders I have ever seen all follow the same discipline. They move quietly. They win quietly. They give quietly. They struggle quietly. They grow quietly. Not because they are hiding, because they are protecting pressure. Pressure creates force. Force creates motion. Motion creates distance. Distance creates freedom. And freedom is always built in silence. Let me step back for a moment. Look at your life like a system. Not emotions, not opinions, a system. Every time you reveal a move too early, you increase resistance. Every time you increase resistance, you reduce acceleration. Every time acceleration drops, your timeline gets longer. 5 years becomes 10. 10 becomes 20. 20 becomes never. This is why most people stay close to where they started. Not because they lack ability, because they leak pressure. They talk before building. They show before finishing. They celebrate before compounding. They relax before escaping. And the system punishes that, not immediately, slowly, quietly, like gravity. One day you wake up at 40 and realize you are still at the same level. Not broke, not free, stuck in orbit, working, earning, spending, repeating. That is the moment most people feel regret. Not because life was unfair, because discipline was inconsistent. If you understand what I told you today, you separate yourself from most people. Not louder, not smarter, more controlled. You start protecting your moves. You stop announcing your future. You stop explaining your edge. You stop promising your money. You stop performing your success. And when you do that, something strange happens. Progress speeds up, not because the world changed, because the pressure stayed inside. Remember the 5 rules. Never share your income jump too early. Never share your next move too early. Never share your edge too early. Never share your future money too early. Never share your wins too early. Keep the pressure. Build force. Reach escape velocity. And when you finally get there, you won't need to explain anything. Your life will explain it. If this way of thinking makes sense to you, then you are not watching this by accident. Write in the comments, I move in silence. That is your contract with yourself. Not with me, with your future. Subscribe if you want more videos about discipline, compounding, and financial operating systems. Thanks for watching.